escape has wiped the smile right from your face. Those stuffed dogs calling. Run to hunt you now. And run to hunt you down right now. They saw you today as you were leaving, and they run to hunt you now. Dogs lead the chase as you are bleeding, and they run to hunt you now. Your narrow escape has wiped the smile right from your face. Those stuffed dogs howling, run to hunt you down. Run to hunt you down right now. They saw you today as you were leaving. No, they run to hunt you down. Dogs lead the chase as you were bleeding, and they run to hunt you down. Your narrow escape has wiped the smile right from your face. Those starved dogs calling, run to hunt you down. Run to hunt you down right now. They saw you the day that you were leaving, and they run to hunt you down. Dogs lead the chase as you are bleeding, and they run to hunt you down. Your narrow escape has wiped the smile right from your face. Those starved dogs howling, run to hunt you down. Run to hunt you down right now. Welcome to another episode of The Apocalypse. And congratulations, by the way, for choosing the apocalypse, because the apocalypse must be chosen. You have chosen the apocalypse. And since you have unwisely chosen the apocalypse, you are in urgent need of a guide. And unfortunately for me, I am that guide, your humble guide, Nicholas. Well, it seems that the death camp, concentration camp idea is coming along swimmingly. Let us begin. Dave Portnoy, I found this at the very end of tonight. I was about to go on, and then I saw this. Donnie's down at UFC in Miami, or he was. It's probably over by now. And, of course, there was little clips of footage of who shook his hand and who he dissed and who he didn't diss. He utterly ignored Cheryl Hines like she didn't exist. She even tapped his arm as he was walking away, and he wanted nothing to do with that woman. I don't really know the history of Cheryl Hines and Donnie, so maybe she's talked a lot of shit. I don't know. Shaq shook Donnie's hand and some other people. But the person that stands out for me is the canary in the coal mine, Dave Portnoy. And again, I don't know shit about Dave Portnoy. All I know is he gets on podcasts and he talks about stocks, and I could tell he's all about it, and that's all he cares about, and that's his fucking thing. So when Donnie did his little tariff dance, tariff grift to manipulate the market, Portnoy was down 7 million the first day, and he was crying like a baby. And then he was down 20 million a few days later, and he was really pissed, and he was talking about voting Democrat and shit. Because, of course, Portnoy voted for this. And again, I don't know shit about Portnoy. I'm using him as a canary in the coal mine. Okay, Donnie has mostly taken most of the tariffs back, all right? He put a ridiculous tariff on China, and he left that, but he took away all the other tariffs, basically. So the market jumped back up. I assume Portnoy made most of his money back, and he's happy now. And again, Donnie pulled another move today or yesterday. I'm not sure. I can't remember when. Where he said, okay, I'm going to leave the 187% tariff on China except for electronics. Well, mostly everything we get from China is electronics. So that basically means the tariffs are off for the most part. Now, there's fringe businesses like farmers and guys that sell metal rims for cars and shit. They'll go out of business. They'll lose everything. But the electronics people that need the electronics and the stock people that need the stock up, they're happy right now. So I guess Portnoy's very, relaxed. He was down 20 million. He was crying. He was bitching. I don't blame him if he's down 20 million, but it's just funny how quick people turn on their principles once they lost 20 mazillion. Then they like, maybe I'll vote Democrat now. Oh, you mean like we warned you ahead of time, Mr. Portnoy, you greedy fuck? He can lose 20 million and still have plenty of money. So that's the lifestyle Mr. Portnoy's living. So I don't feel sorry for him in the slightest, especially since he voted for this. So he voted for his own demise, and we're supposed to sit here and watch him cry on his podcast about losing 20 million. Well, if you would have voted for the black lady, you'd probably be up another 20 million, because she wasn't trying to tank the market on purpose to start a Reich and all this kind of crazy shit I talk about, which I won't go into now. So Mr. Portnoy saw Donnie at UFC, and here's the picture of Donnie and Portnoy hooking up. That's one picture. Here's the other picture. You can see Portnoy a little better. It's not the best picture. Portnoy's like, I didn't mean none of that shit I said about them tariffs. Don't even worry about it, Donnie. Don't even fucking worry about it. Let's watch some fights. And this is, again, the concentration camp thing is coming along. They've got some big plans, and they're letting us know what they're about to do again. So I would pay attention to this, all two of you. Again, this isn't me saying this. This is someone who put a post up, and then I'm going to go into the information they presented. Nobody leaves the El Salvador CCOT prison. It's not just a concentration camp. It's an extermination camp. Now, they're saying that. I asked the question the other day, the Nazis didn't exactly admit they were exterminating people when they first opened the camps, okay? Not everyone knew. I'm sure they tried to keep it hush-hush as long as possible. Even at the end of the war, they still don't admit they did it. When there's footage, documents, pictures, everything, because they were proud of what they was doing. So I asked the question, hey, this Brago Garcia guy, the ruling after ruling keeps going against the government lately. Used to be in favor of the government. I guess they saw the public backlash and I guess they realized, yeah, we're really scum for doing this. Everyone knows we're scum. We better just order him to bring the guy back, finally, after, 2, 3 rulings. So I haven't seen a picture of this guy live. I haven't heard a piece of audio. I haven't heard his lawyer say he's alive. I haven't heard anyone human that saw him say he's alive. So I asked the question, they're fighting real hard not to bring him back too, aren't they? This has been dragging out for a while in court after court, bullshit excuse after bullshit excuse. So I was wondering, since this is a Nazi Reich forming, who else would ally with the Reich but someone maybe possibly willing to exterminate people? Could this be an extermination camp? I asked the question. Now someone's saying it outright. But we still don't have all the evidence for that. But I haven't heard if this guy's alive yet. The government signed a sworn statement saying he's alive and secure. But that person that wrote the statement did not see him alive. They're taking the testimony of other people. And they signed their name to it under penalty of perjury. I'll get to that. But no one, again, I want to see footage. I want to see a picture. I want to hear him on the phone. I want to hear his lawyer say he's alive. His lawyers filed something today in court or yesterday. I have that too, a little piece of it. But this is what I want to get to first. This is fucking serious. And it appears the plan is they've abandoned Gitmo a little bit. It looks like that they're going to put all their weight and money and time behind this El Salvador idea, and Mr. Bukele is sure fucking willing to do it and take that money. So this person is basing their extermination camp comments on these pieces of information and probably the fact that Abrego Garcia, no one knows if he's fucking alive or dead. Military contractors pitch unprecedented prison plan for detained immigrants. This Eric Prince plan's been around a little while. I read about it a while ago, but now it feels like it's about to go forward. Eric Prince wants to cut a deal to skirt immigration laws and transport detainees from the U.S. to El Salvador. The proposal says Prince's group in partnership with El Salvador, hold on right there, Eric Prince, he's known to be a really good guy, not a mercenary at all, right? Right. In partnership with El Salvador, will facilitate an operation that would handle the logistics of gathering 100,000 of the worst criminal offenders, that's a quote, from U.S. prisons, holding them at a 10,000 person detention camp, and flying them to El Salvador. This doesn't sound dystopian at all, right? This doesn't sound Nazi-esque or Reich-esque at all, right? The group says it will need access to the government's immigration files. And let me hold on. Why is Mr. Prince so eager to do all this? For money, of course, from the U.S. government. You'll be paying, Mr. Prince, for the privilege of you or someone you know ending up on a plane to El Salvador or taking up the empty space the prisons are about to empty out. Who do you think that empty space is for, son, in the prisons? 100,000 prisoners in U.S. prisons. Not illegal immigrants, son. U.S. citizen prisoners. Shipped to El Salvador to make space. For what, I ask? For who, I ask? I know, you're just outraged by the 100,000 people going to El Salvador, right? U.S. citizens. You should be. Look past that and think and ask yourself, what's that empty space for, boss? Why they need that empty space on U.S. soil? 100,000 of the worst criminal offenders. And again, they said, remember the first flights to El Salvador, it was the worst of the worst, right? And now we know there's several innocent people, and most of the people that went didn't even commit crimes. I thought they were the worst of the worst, Donnie. Oh, you were just lying again. To start a concentration camp and using U.S. taxpayer money to pay the demon that runs it. The group says it will need access to the government's immigration files from law enforcement agencies to determine their immigration status, further entwining the private enterprise with government operations. So they'll have access to files. And yeah, I'm not buying that they're all going to be illegal immigrants. I'm not buying that they're all going to be the hardened criminals that they're described as, because we already know from the first attempt at this exercise, the first flights of Venezuelans to a country they're not even fucking from, to a death camp. We know the promises made in the beginning, the vagary given, worst of the worst. Anyone could be considered worst of the worst. You could. You understand that concept, right? You just need to be labeled worst of the worst by the government. You're on a plane to El Salvador, son. That's the country you live in now. So the promise was the worst of the worst again with the first flights that went there, and we find out they weren't the worst of the worst. A lot of them. One guy, the government even admitted they sent by mistake and shouldn't be there. And they fight in tooth and nail to keep him there for some reason. And they fired the lawyer that said that. Private enterprise. That's the operative phrase. Private enterprise. To make money, Mr. Mercenary Eric Prince is willing to become a human trafficker to a death camp in El Salvador. That's where that man's willing to go for money. I would hate to be him when the man comes around. Prince's group also wants a role in the immigration courts, one of several elements of the proposal that would likely draw legal challenges. Oh, well, they want a role in the courts as well. Again, doesn't sound too Nazi-esque at all, right? Private mercenaries getting involved with the courts and having access to government files. And you get to pay the bill. And I'm sure Mr. Prince wouldn't charge you top dollar because he knows Doge and all that. They want to save money, right? No, no one's saving any money. They haven't saved us anything, not a penny. Leon's gotten billions in contracts. Doge gets $8 million a week at least for expenses and salary. At least $8 million a week. Ain't saving us jack shit, despite all the people they're firing. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, I'm sure Mr. Prince will give us really good discount rates on his mercenary activities, human trafficking activities, right? Right. If the immigrant does not have a deportation order, USV will facilitate a hearing before an immigration judge to adjudicate any pending asylum claim. And Mr. Prince will work closely with that court. The group also says it will work with prosecutors to make deals with the incarcerated individuals whereby some of their prison sentence will be waived in exchange for the granting of a deportation order. They really want to clear up some space in these prisons. I wonder what that space is for. The proposal includes sample language for a treaty of cession, so that a portion of the prison complex can become U.S. territory, arguing that transferring a prisoner to such a facility would not be an extradition nor a deportation. What does that mean, little children? That means they could take a regular citizen and throw him there, right? Because it's technically still the United States or a U.S. territory, right? That's what it means. Thanks, Roops. I wonder who the first Rube will be that voted for Donnie that will end up on the plane to El Salvador. It's inevitable, you know that, right? And it could be you. It's inevitable. One more time, so that a portion of the prison complex can become a U.S. territory. Gee, I wonder why they want to do that. Arguing that transferring a prisoner to such a facility would not be an extradition nor a deportation. That's why they want to do that. What do they need? What do they need that for? U.S. citizens, son. That's who they need that for. Oh, what have you rubes done? Once the land is owned by the U.S., the proposal says it will be leased back to El Salvador to run the prison complex and urges the Homeland Security Secretary to suspend the ICE detention standards to avoid questions about detention standards established by Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Bureau of Prisons. Can you believe what you just heard? This is real policy, people, about to be enacted. Again, this plan, I heard about this a while back, before Donny got elected again. But it seems to be really hashed out now. They got it figured out. They like the El Salvador thing. They like the no communication with the outside world. No one knows if people are alive or dead. They dig that. Now the plan is take more of your tax money, buy some of the land or whatever, buy some territory there so it can be a U.S. territory. And then we're going to lease it to El Salvador. So El Salvador, I guess, will pay us money for the lease. So the government will make a profit. Mr. Prince will make fucking millions a day to round people up and ship them to El Salvador. That's what that demon is willing to take money for. And he's happy to do it. So now you, Rubes, your tax money is going to pay for this. You're going to own the death camp. So when you get sent there, at least you got a stake in it. You helped create it. Your money helped finance it. So when you end up there again, remember that fact. Because some of you will end up there. Again, it's inevitable. They don't want to have to worry about deportation. They're taking that out of the equation. U.S. is going to buy it and make it a territory. They're telling you what they're going to do. Listen, because they're going to do it. Insanity. I can't believe this is our reality thanks to you, Rubes, that have your name on this. And the greedy at the top who are getting milked like fucking cows. I told the oligarchy Donny would continuously be knocking on your door for more money. That's exactly what he's fucking doing. Amazing. Amazing. So many wise entities out there. Now, our country's over. We're openly talking about death camps and shipping 100,000 people from U.S. prisons. They didn't say 100,000 illegal immigrants, son. They said they want to skirt the deportation process and make it a fucking U.S. territory. Why the fuck do you think they want to do that? That's for you, son. If they deem you worthy. Maybe you're a dissident. Maybe you're pissed off you lost your job because of all this tariffs, government job, and you're at a protest one day. Maybe they just don't like the cut of your jib. Because that's how a Reich works. And again, one of the heads of this movement, Leon Scum, he's the one that did the Nazi salute. He's the one basing his truck on a Panzer tank. He's the one walking around with Nazi haircuts. So I ain't just calling them Nazis, son. They showed us. Not like we didn't know before, but there's a difference when they show you right in your face and do a straight up Sieg Heil in front of the world. proudly. I know exactly what that means. That ain't fun and games. That ain't cute. That ain't funny. That represents a lot of things. One of it's killing a lot of people. Detention camps. Funny how our society has become all about detention camps all of a sudden. Right after the inauguration of two people, one who did a Nazi salute on Inauguration Day. Now we having fucking conversations about concentration camps, son. We're having conversations about someone who's shipped there and the government admittedly said we fucked up, he shouldn't be there. We don't even know if he's dead or alive, and this is after several court rulings. And a lot of people are starting to ask questions. Is this an extermination camp, possibly? Because we got a motherfucking right going. Why wouldn't it fucking be? I need to see some fucking proof otherwise, man. Anyway, here's Donny Shitbags. Again, the president of El Salvador, the dictator of El Salvador can come here on Monday, but we can't fly Mr. Garcia up here. Isn't that interesting? We can get the president up here, though, or the dictator that runs the death camp. Who thought it up? It's amazing how he can fly up here, but he can't fly that man up here. Isn't that interesting? Looking forward to seeing President Bukele of El Salvador on Monday. Our nations are working closely together to eradicate terrorist organizations. No, they're not doing that at all. That's a complete fabrication. They're running a death camp. And Donnie's the Antichrist. And we're having conversations about concentration camps all the time. You notice that? After the Antichrist won the election? I noticed. I don't remember America talking about concentration camps except for World War II or one? World War II, when we fought the Japanese. We had internment camps for the Japanese. I don't think they were exterminated, though. Because George Takei was in one, the guy from Star Trek. And he didn't get exterminated. And he didn't talk about people getting exterminated. So at least we have that to boast of, right? So the last internment or concentration camps I remember are World War II. But they weren't extermination camps. And again, we haven't seen Mr. Garcia. We have no idea if he's alive or dead. We have no idea if any of the people are alive or dead. So they're not doing anything about any terrorist organizations. That's a complete fabrication. And again, all this talk of terrorists, of drug cartels in Mexico, of fentanyl coming across the Canadian border, those are all ways to just open doors to things Donnie wants to do. Impose tariffs, start a war. It's just an argument you can throw in people's face, none of it based in reality. As far as fentanyl, more coke goes out of the US into Canada than comes from Canada into here. Way more. So even that's a lie. As far as the border between Mexico, we've basically shipped, I don't know how many factories worth of weapons down there and helped turn Mexico into the hellscape it is. In other words, American weapons manufacturers and probably the government has profited heavily on arming these people. And I'm sure the president of Mexico has talked about that and will talk about that again in the future. Acting like, we're being invaded here when how many of Donnie's businesses right now have illegal Mexican workers working in them? And he knows it. But, they're exempt, the people that work on the farms and the people that work in the hotels specifically, Donnie said. You know why? Because Donnie runs resorts and hotels. And he don't want to lose his Mexicans. He didn't mean he wanted to round them up. He's got a fucking business to run, and he wants cheap labor, damn it. Anyway, let's go back to the death camps. Terrorist organizations and build a future of prosperity. Yeah, for him, not for us. We getting ready for hell because of this beast. President Bukele has graciously accepted into his nation's custody some of the most violent alien enemies of the world, and in particular, the United States. Well, what about that innocent dude, Donnie? What about him? These barbarians are now in the sole custody of El Salvador, says the convicted felon, by the way. Adjudicated rapist, adjudicated defamer, adjudicated fraud. Talking about these other people, many of which have committed no crime and are in a fucking death camp. And Donnie's president, convicted felon. Always remember who's speaking. Probably with a load of shit in his pants at the moment, too. Keep that in mind. These barbarians are now in the sole custody of El Salvador, a proud and sovereign nation, and their future is up to President B and his government. They will never threaten or menace our citizens again. Well, what about the menace that is Donnie shitbags? Again, convicted fucking felon as president, talking shit on these people. A lot of them don't even have a record. Meanwhile, convicted felon is talking shit on them, who in a just world would have been a jailbird about 97 times over for all the crimes he's committed. For overthrowing the government alone. Forget all the frauds before that and grifts before that. And then the documents, my God, 3,000 classified documents. I mean, if it was us, we'd be buried under the jail. So Donnie should even be a jailbird, actually, but I knew he'd never see a day in prison. I'll take a little water break here. Forgive me. This would be normally done during commercial, but this is low budget. This gentleman. Oh, anyway, before I move on, hold on. Again, I have to say one more time. The president, or excuse me, the dictator of El Salvador can fly his ass up here, but after 9 court orders, Donnie and Mr. Presidente can't get Mr. Garcia up here, as they're talking shit in social media posts, and then they'll hang out and have cognac or whatever at the White House as this other man, innocent man, rots in the death camp and laugh about it. And that's why both of those individuals, their destiny is the lake. For sure, guaranteed. Donnie's definitely guaranteed. Mr. Bukele, as evil as a man as he is, and he's evil, he could turn away. He has a chance. I know he won't. He enjoys it too much. I can tell. He won't enjoy the lake, though. Siggy. Yes, the people that are laughing about this, the situation, Bukele, Donnie, people of that ilk, you're going to be held accountable for that. The people that have their name on this travesty, this fucking mockery of life, you're going to be held accountable for that. That's why I'm on camera partially. The other reason, again, is to guide people through it, because I know people don't understand what's going on. But the crazy guy on YouTube does. Don't worry. That's why I'm your guide. I was pondering these things decades before you even knew they existed. This gentleman here, He's yet another example. I've given you several. I do this every now and then. He's a business owner. He says he makes or imports metal rims for cars, and he's got himself a little business going, and he's making a little money. And Trump's tariffs have basically ruined his business. And guess what? He voted for Donny. So here's another person who voted for their own demise and their family's demise, if he has a family. Thought so little of his country, so little of himself and his family, that he voted for a con man. He watched the tariffs go forth the entire Trump presidency, the first time he got elected. He never took those tariffs off of China. China never backed down an inch. He saw that. He watched Donny talk about tariffs before he got elected the second time, and he voted for it. So he wasn't voting for financial stability or financial success. He was voting for something else, just like the rest of you were, that have your name on this, and you know it. I don't care what reason you give me. I don't believe you at this point. Because Donny showed you who he was. He left the economy in shambles, son. He wreaked havoc during that first presidency. You saw that. You saw him try and overthrow the government. You saw him steal 3,000 classified documents and tell the FBI to fuck off when they asked for them back. And you voted for it again. So you voted for something else. You didn't vote for financial stability or financial success or for tax cuts, unless you're super rich. You voted for something else, and I know that, despite what you say. This gentleman as well. So again, Trump is putting him out of business. He did a little video explaining what's going on, and he admitted he voted Donny. I at least have a tiny bit of respect for you people that when you do these videos, you admit you voted Donny, because I saw a woman that owned a business I know voted Donny, and she didn't say who she voted for. That's how I know she voted Donny. And she was complaining about her business being ruined as well, but that's another story. So this gentleman's business is basically ruined by the tariffs because it's not electronics, it's steel, I guess. It's rims for cars. So he doesn't get the pass. So he's another example about, I don't know, the 30th I've shown you, who now wants the world to rally around him, now wants to get on social media and cry about the choice that he fucking made after, hold on, we all make bad choices sometimes, but after witnessing all of Donny's reign the first time, his coup, his theft of documents, his abominations and lies, his ruination of the economy. He saw all that and he still made the choice. That tells me there's a serious bias there. That's not logical. That's bias. And I know what it's about. So again, he's on video crying about it. He's going to, lose everything. He's hurting financially. And he wants everyone to rally around him. I told you all these people would cry on our shoulder. The rest of us who did not put our name on this. And most of them won't admit they voted Donny, I'm sure. So again, these grown men and women that put their name on this after we all begged them not to, warned them not to. There's 1 million people on video that have been talking about these issues since 2015. You saw all this. You saw Donny's abominations, treasons, lies. And now you want the world to give a fuck. That's bold, man. That's fucking bold. And I ask myself every time I see one of these people, who are hurting financially because of Donny and literally because of the choice they made. It's not even because of Donny, it's because of them. They chose ruin. They chose death. They chose destruction. They chose division. They chose lies. And that's what they're getting. And they chose even worse. They chose the apocalypse. That's what all of you have chosen that puts your name on this. So a lot of people are going to die, and it's going to get Nazi dystopian like a motherfucker. And again, we've already got concentration camps up and running, where people go and we never hear from them again. And we got Mr. Prince the mercenary, ready to ship another 100,000 from U.S. prisons. And, go around that little deportation problem. Make it a U.S. territory. That way we can just throw full citizens there and we're not really deporting them to another country legally. That's your reality now. So I always ask myself with these people, how fast does the GoFundMe go up, you fucking cunts? After you voted for the ruin of your country, the ruin of your future, your family, your children's future, and our future, and now we're going to go into a dystopian Nazi fucking nightmare because you're stupid. How fast does the GoFundMe go up? After the little children cry about the choice they made, as they walk around with their chest and chin up high, proud, with their Louis Vuitton bag and their Land Rover or their Porsche. I'm not even talking about rich people. I'm talking about people pretending to be rich that just have a little money. They're so proud. They work so hard, right? Just to hand it all over to a con man and a Nazi from South Africa. Both rich kids grew up filthy rich, didn't earn a damn thing, never worked a hard day in their life, went right to management from childhood. Again, that's how little you cared about yourself, your family, your children, your future, this country, our future. And here's what I would say to this gentleman and that woman the other day whose video I watched, whose business is ruined now, who wouldn't admit who she voted for. That tells me all I need to know. I would say we cared about you. We cared about your family. We cared about America and the future of this country. We cared about your well-being, even though behind closed doors and on social media, you talk abject shit on us and liberals in government. We cared about you. Joe went out with a warning. I think an oligarchy's forming. He risked his life giving that warning, by the way, son. You wouldn't even have had the balls to do it. And if you would have voted the other way, the economy would just be humming and you'd be doing your thing and making your money. But you had a point to make. And your point is going to cost you everything. It already has for some of you. In other words, we cared more about you than you cared about you. Now you're crying on social media because you didn't listen. And again, you all want people to rally around you. You all have a GoFundMe, I'm fucking sure. It's the whole reason you made the goddamn videos. For sympathy and money. Not a one of you has a change of heart. This gentleman has made an update video after he whined and complained about his business being ruined and, oh my God, what am I going to do? A lot of people talk shit on him in the comments. So he made a follow-up video and highlighted some of the shit talking. You guys want people to fail. You laugh at people's failure, blah, 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 blah. That's why you voted Donny, son, the cruelty. And you know it, all of you, every single one. because you're just like him. But I hope you turn away and you're not like him anymore. I hope you make a choice to go the other way on your own, because you just don't like what you see. Or maybe you got thrown to the wolves like this gentleman here after supporting the con man that we all begged you not to. So now he's all pissed off. He did a follow-up video that people were talking shit on him. Dude, you voted for it. What do you expect? You expect everybody to give you a hug, son? After you gave our country to the Nazis? Now you expect us to care that your business is gone. You want to throw up a GoFundMe and all the bullshit, I'm sure. Guarantee every one of them did it. And how dare they? Honestly. Do you know how many people are going to die and end up in prison camps because of you people? Many already have. And you dare slap a GoFundMe up after you put your name on? You made this happen? And then you're going to get all indignant and show your real true colors when people talk shit on you. Your vote of Donny Shitbags was you talking shit on all of us and showing us that you think so little of this country that you would just give it to a South African oligarch. Because that oligarch only bought Donny Shitbags. He didn't have to buy you or your country. You just handed it to him. So again, you people have a lot of nerve, man, putting up the social media posts and wanting people to rally around you. Again, we cared about you more than you cared about you. You proved that by voting Donny Shitbags after we all begged you not to, for your own well-being as well as ours. In other words, all of us that have been on camera or in print or whatever that have been contending this since 2015, part of the reason we all did that is because we care about you. Or we wouldn't be doing it. This is Kilmar Abrego Garcia's attorneys. They asked a federal judge today or yesterday to initiate the process for possibly holding the Trump administration in contempt for failing to facilitate his return. And again, I want to hear these lawyers say they've talked to the gentleman and he's still alive. I haven't heard them say that. That bothers me. And here's what they used as their evidence to make this complaint. President Trump confirmed that the United States has the power to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from prison and return to the United States. Here's the quote. If the Supreme Court said bring somebody back, I would do that. I respect the Supreme Court. Yes, Donny Shitbags said that. And it shouldn't take a Supreme Court ruling. And they already did rule that he has to bring him back. The guy's still not back. Yet the president can show up on Monday, or the dictator from El Salvador can show up on Monday. I'd just like to know if the guy's alive at the very least. When are we going to get that information? So yeah, Donnie said, oh, well, just get the Supreme Court to tell me to. Well, they told them to, and the guy's still not back. Do you see a pattern here? They keep stalling. They don't want to bring him back. They keep making excuses, even after court rulings. So, I'm not going to be surprised if this person's deceased. But then it's going to make me wonder, is this an extermination camp? But then again, how long are you going to last with 80 men in a cell? How long you think you'll last, son? Or you get killed, or just die of shock. You're not used to living in those conditions. So I would never laugh if somebody else is living in those conditions. Anyway, a break from the misery here, even though this represents misery as well, and then we'll go back to the misery. Linda McMahon watching students learn about A1, because Linda did a presentation the other day and she kept calling AI learning A1 learning because she's an idiot. And she's just a figurehead for the agenda. She's not really doing anything. The agenda will be implemented by other people. She's just a face for it. You know, AI teaching your children for the next couple generations, only Reich-approved learning. I'm sure that won't damage society at all if it ever comes to fruition. But look at that. A1 looks delicious. I love A1, and they didn't pay me to say that. I love A1 on steak or on a burger. My God, it makes it fucking delicious. You got to be careful, though. Can't put too much on. That's some strong shit. Here's Stephen King. Only in America can a homeless vet sleep in a cardboard box on the street while a felon draft dodger sleeps in the White House. Can't really argue, can I? Here's what that looks like. Yeah, convicted felon. So you weren't voting for family values with the guy who paid off a porn star while in office because he cheated with her on his wife. You didn't vote for him for that. You didn't vote for him for financial success because he's tariffed the fuck out of your business partners. And now you're going out of business or you're losing your farm. So I wonder why you voted for him. You must have saw something you like. Maybe you like this. We saw the commercial for Trump Gaza with the 40-foot gold Donny statues. I wondered when I first saw this statue why it wasn't all in gold. And I remembered, well, someone's got to pay for that gold and Donny ain't going to fucking pay for it. So there's a new statue up at one of Donny's golf courses that he was at today on your dime, going right in his pocket. And Donny took a bunch of photos in front of the statue, and I noticed later on in this photo there actually is some gold going on under the jacket there. So someone made sure to put the gold in, but Donny's saving the real gold statues for Gaza. That's the end goal. Gaza Resort, Temple on the Temple Mount. Gold statues of Donny on the Holy Land. Worship, that's the end goal. Donny loves this shit. People making him statues, putting the gold on there. Isn't that great? Oh, and if you look at the statue closer, you can see it's holding a MAGA hat. The assassination attempt statue. Isn't it beautiful? Got the reddish in the tie, red in the MAGA hat there, the gold shirt. I mean, it's just styling. Donny is styling. Oh, this is nice. North Carolina, Trump denies FEMA aid extension in state he won 3 times. I know you thought he cared about you because you voted for him. No, he doesn't care about you. He never did. It's a grift, son. It's a grift. And now it's an apocalyptic grift involving the devil, Donny, and Leon. So now it's like a grift for everything, even your soul. He's going to try and grift that from you at a certain point. And that's why when you got to make the real choice. And I wonder how many of you maggot Christians will fall for that grift and actually give your soul up, even though you've been letting the name Jesus pass through your lips for 50 years. I wonder. Be interesting to see if I'm still alive, which I probably won't be, by the way. Democratic Governor Josh Stein announced Friday that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has denied North Carolina's request to extend the full reimbursement period for Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. Well, now I get it. They got a Democratic governor. I had a feeling they did. I kind of remember hearing that they had a Democrat as governor. No wonder Donny turned him down, because, you can't work with Democrats. And that's Donny's money. Why would he give the North Carolinians any? In the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, which struck in September 2024, then presidential candidate Trump voiced sharp criticism of FEMA's response in the swing state of North Carolina. Well, he was trying to grift the presidency from you idiots. So that's why he was saying that then. Now it's like, fuck them, cut them off. I don't like Democrats. They got a Democrat governor. Fuck them. I ain't running no more. And, we're going to start a military dictatorship anyway, so I don't got to run for, another term. I'm just going to stay dictator. So I don't need the people in North Carolina anymore. Accusing the agency of being too slow to release recovery funds and failing to coordinate effectively with state officials. So he was all critical that not enough help was going to your state before he was president because he needed your vote. Now he says, fuck them, we're just going to end the program. Donny, he's a real man of the people. Again, if you would have voted Kamala, or if Joe was running and you would have voted for Joe, North Carolina would have this money guaranteed, and all of you know it. All of you know it. Wouldn't even be a fight. Joe wouldn't have said, oh, it's a Republican governor, fuck him. And neither would Kamala. And you all know that. But that wasn't good enough. The price of oil has gone way down. I haven't seen that really reflect at the pump, but whatever. The price of Urals, the main export grade of Russian oil, fell below $50 a barrel for the first time since June 2023. That's very low for a barrel of oil. That's not good for the Russian economy. A huge blow to the Russian economy, indeed. And here's Darth Putin commenting on that. And remember, Darth Putin knows all and sees all, so listen. When you helped Trump so he would damage the U.S., but ended up damaging Russia a lot more. Yeah. This is what that looks like. They took a classic painting and put an oil barrel. And yeah, Vlad needs that. That's his main source of income. Oil money. So oil going down below $50 a barrel for Vlad, that's very bad. That's a lot less money that he will be making. But I'm pretty sure Vlad is willing to make that sacrifice to have his pet orange dog in the White House doing his bidding. And here's Gretchen Whitmer. I believe she's the governor of Michigan. She was at the White House hiding in the corner the other day. And then this happened. She's covering her face. When the photographers tried to take a picture of her, I wouldn't want to be photographed in that room either, but why is she even there is the real good question. Everyone was pissed that she was there. I have no idea. I don't remember. I don't care why Gretchen Whitmer was there. I just find it funny that she's literally covering her face to avoid being photographed in this instance. And my God, look at all that hideous, gaudy gold and gold framing. And oh my God, just so gold. Donny's always about just gaudy shit. Just make it all gold. I don't, whatever's gold anywhere, just put it right here. Gold, gold, gold. I want gold Donny statues. You got to wear the gold Donny lapel pin. I don't want to see any American flags. It's all about Donny shit bags, baby. This is the Antichrist in his glory right now. He is loving it. He is grifting harder than he's ever grifted. He's got CEOs laying tribute at his feet. He's got CEOs throwing him another 25 million via judgments, via buying, documentary rights. Another 40 million went to Donny. I mean, he is loving it. He's got $5 million Donny gold card he's about to start selling. They'll probably be printed up on your dime, too. You know they will. And again, that card doesn't say the America card. It says the Donny Shitbags gold card. That's what it says on it. And he's probably going to use tax money to print those fuckers up. That's how cheap a cunt he is. Hey, he's got Nutlick working on the gold card. Of course tax money's going to pay for it. Nutlick is getting paid taxpayer money for a position in government. He's handling the Donny gold card. God, you people are such fucking chumps. My God. I mean, Donny was a shameless grifter too, and you knew it, and you still voted for him. He didn't hide the grift. He was golfing at his own clubs the entire first presidency, and you paid for it. Right in his fucking pocket. The whole entourage. And he's charging you triple the rates. You know that, right? This Donny shitbags. This is the beast, man. He'd grift his grandma. He tried to grift his dad when his dad was dying. Tried to get him to side on the dotted line. You know what I mean? Before he died. And Fred the monster again. He had a little left up here. And he told Donny to fuck off. Donny tried, though. China has offloaded $50 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds. Yeah. The reason Donny pulled back the tariffs originally, the 90-day pause, was because Japan was selling a bunch of treasuries. Japan and China hold the most treasuries, American bonds. So if they sell them all, we're fucked. So Japan decided to start selling them. That scared Donny, and other people started selling bonds. That scared Donny. He pulled the tariffs back for 90 days, except for the Chinese tariffs. Now the Chinese have done the same thing over the past few nights. Now they started selling treasuries, so that scared Donny. So what did Donny do today? He took the tariffs off of all electronics. So that's pretty much everything we get from China, mostly electronics. So almost all the tariffs are gone now. So the Chinese made their point and started selling treasuries, and that's why Donny did this today. And maybe Apple threw him a few million too, who knows? Donny said he's willing to make deals to make the tariffs go away. You know, extortion. Trump's EPA just moved to reverse state and local bans on toxic forever chemicals that can lead to birth defects and cancer. So much for Make America Healthy Again. Yes, they're just dismantling and looting everything. I've been saying this since Doge was a thing. And they're taking away all kind of regulations. And forever chemicals, when I hear that, I think plastics. Because now we all have microplastics in our bodies from the use of plastic for so many decades. It's not a natural material. It doesn't degrade. It just breaks down into smaller pieces. So now every single human has a few teaspoons of plastic in their body. That's our life now because of what we've done to this planet and our search for convenience. Hey, plastic's great, right? It doesn't rust. It doesn't rot. It's great, right? No, it isn't. Now it's in all of our bodies. And it's everywhere. It's in the soil. It's in the air. It's in the rain. It's everywhere. It's part of us now, plastic. So when I hear forever chemicals, I assume when they take the bans away, that that a lot more plastic's going to be in my diet and yours. Thanks, Rubes. Trump exempts many electronics from new tariffs. New York Times, that's the way that looks. I assume that's because China was selling treasuries like a motherfucker. Donnie got scared, and Apple probably threw him a few bucks, I assume. Trump signed an executive order. This is from April 11th. Military mission for sealing the southern border of the United States and repelling invasions. They're calling it an invasion because that way they have special powers and they can go around the Constitution. So they're going to declare a lot of things invasions and use war acts and this act and that act to just go around the Constitution till we have a straight up dystopia with no rights where they can throw you in a camp for any reason. By this executive order, Trump has just declared the U.S. border with Mexico a national defense area, that's in quotes, putting it under the control of the U.S. military with Secretary of Defense Hegseth as basically the military governor of the region with a lot of power too. Again, on 4/20, April 20th, there's a report due by Mr. Hegseth and someone else, Noam or one of those people, on whether to declare some type of martial law, or I forget what it's called, because of this invasion on the border. There's a report due, and that report will either recommend or not recommend invoking the president to have special powers regarding the immigration issue. But again, the immigration issue is just a doorway to get to you and me. That's where this is going. It ain't just about brown-skinned immigrants. Sorry, I don't wish it was. I wish it was about none of this. What I'm saying is it's much more nefarious. It's going to go much further. Why do you think they want to go around the deportation thing? Make it a U.S. territory down there in El Salvador. It's going to that horrible place I told you it was going right when he got elected. And I really hoped I was wrong. But I see ramped up plans for the concentration camps. I see a mercenary all too happy to do the work. I see a dictator in El Salvador switched over to Bitcoin, his whole country, in 2021. In other words, I see the what's it called? The dry run in El Salvador for what's coming here, son. Do you hear me? Bitcoin economy. Donnie's all about that. Camps. Dictatorship. Just like El Salvador. That's what happened there. So that's where this is going. And again, that report on April 20th, which is Adolf Hitler's birthday, by the way, is due on whether Donnie will assume more special powers regarding the border, which again is all a doorway just to get to you and me. This is the person that said Abrego Garcia is still alive. Trump administration asserts that Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia is alive and secure. I'm mostly going to call him Abrego Garcia or Garcia to shorten it as I'm presenting these stories about him. Okay, so the government is saying he's alive. And they write this long-ass thing. I am senior bureau official in the Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs, the United States Department of State. As senior bureau official, I am a member of the Senior Executive Service responsible for, among other things, coordination of the conduct of our diplomatic activities in the countries of the Western Hemisphere. All right, he basically just says who he is. That's not really important. This is the important part. Michael G. Kozak, Senior Bureau Official. That's who signed this. This part. I don't like this. This is quite vague. It is my understanding, let me cover my ass legally so I don't go to prison. It is my understanding, based on official reporting from our embassy in San Salvador, that Abrego Garcia is currently being held in the Terrorism Confinement Center in El Salvador. He is alive and secure in that facility. He is detained pursuant to the sovereign domestic authority of El Salvador. I declare under penalty of perjury, blah, 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 that that's a true statement. Okay, what is he really saying there? I don't know. We're relying on someone's word at an embassy in another country. This person that signed a statement did not see the person alive, did not talk to them, has no clue whether alive or dead. How do I know that? It is my understanding, based on official reporting, he knows nothing. And we know nothing. Is this man alive? We don't know that yet. Despite several court orders, now we get this vague-ass statement from this Michael G. Kozak that it's his understanding that the man's alive and in the death camp. I don't know, people. I'm still getting the feeling this man's not alive. And I'm wondering, someone asked me, how much would people really care about this if he's not alive? And I didn't like the answer I thought of. Because I have a feeling people would just be outraged for a few days and then we'd move on. That a man went to a death camp and died because of the Antichrist. Because of you who put your name on it. But according to Mr. Kozak, according to his understanding, based on what other people said, the innocent man that they sent down there that they admitted they shouldn't have sent down there is alive, Mr. Garcia. Now, Donnie's back on the South Africa thing. And remember, Donnie actually did mention color in this one. You know what? So I'll read it, because they don't usually mention color because they want you to think this is them caring about some Africans, and it's not. It's them caring about some Nazis who were part of apartheid South Africa. How could we be expected to go to South Africa for the very important G20 meeting when land confiscation and genocide is the primary topic of conversation? What do you think the whites did? They confiscated land and genocide. They were Nazis and descendants of Nazis. What the fuck do you think they did? Now they're talking about the blacks doing it? It's fascinating. They are taking the land of white farmers. Donnie finally throws the color in there, throws the point in there. And again, he's acting like he cares about these poor white farmers in a black nation. Yet he's shipping people from here to a death camp in El Salvador at the same time. And laughing about it. So I'm not buying the concern here, but whatever. He needs them for a purpose, and Leon does as well. They are taking the land of white farmers and then killing them and their families. What do you think the whites did to get control of the place? Why do you think the whites have the best farmland in the country in a black nation? The media refuses to report on this. The United States has held back all contributions to South Africa. Is this where we want to be for the G20? I don't think so. I don't know where Donnie's going with this, but I believe the South Africans basically said, yeah, we don't want to come over to the Reich. We're going to tough it out here. I believe most of them said that. Yet Donnie and Leon are still fighting for him. And they have an invitation, remember? The white South Africans have an invitation, open invitation, to come to your country. You know, the descendants of Nazis, literally. That's why the community was started. And we're shipping these other people out, many who haven't committed a crime, to a death camp. And one of the men, at least, is innocent. The government said he shouldn't even be there. But the white South African descendants of Nazis have an open invitation. I would say there's a lack of consistency on the attitude towards immigrants in this country. I guess it depends what color they are, huh? Of course it does. While nearly 400 DEI books have been removed from the Naval Academy's library, including Holocaust memoirs, 2 copies of Hitler's Mein Kampf remain on the shelves. Again, this isn't a Nazi movement, right? This isn't the apocalypse, right? When they take books about the Holocaust off military library shelves and they leave Mein Kampf there. State Department employees have been ordered to report anti-Christian bias among colleagues under a new directive from President Trump. Anti-Christian bias. I have a problem with this policy. And guess what? I'm a Christian. This is some sick-ass dystopian shit right here. Why is Donny going so hard at people that criticize Israel? Why is Donny going to now go hard against people that have anti-Christian bias? What they really mean is anti-Reich bias. In other words, a Reich Christian, not real Christians. So why is Donny targeting these 2 behaviors so viciously? Anti-Semitism, allegedly, according to him, or anti-Israel sentiment, and anti-Christian, people that are anti-Christian. The reason he's going after these 2 groups so hard is he needs the confidence of the Christians, or the ones that say they are. He needs the confidence of the Jews in Israel. Why? Because those are the ones he wants to lock up the most. But he needs them on his side right now till that temple thing happens. But again, folks, Donny's the mastermind and Leon's the mastermind and Hegseth behind taking books about Jews and the Holocaust out of military circulation, out of government circulation, telling people in the armed forces that they will no longer be observing certain Jewish holidays and black holidays, etc. That happened way back. Remember that? I know a lot has happened. You don't remember it all. Neither do I. It's impossible. And that's the point, to wear us down. You don't remember him changing the feast days for the military, do you? The holidays. Those holidays that got taken away had to do with Jews, blacks, women. Again, they take books about the Holocaust off military shelves. They leave Mein Kampf. What does that tell you, son? It's really not hard to figure out. Nazi salute at the inauguration. What does that tell you, son? Nazi haircuts. Nazi ideology being spouted by Thale, Dugan, Donny sometimes. When Donny says the open borders thing. Stuff like that. Annexation talk. Invading our neighbors, taking other countries, taking Gaza. That's Hitler type stuff. That's Reich type stuff. That's Nazi type stuff. Detention camps, concentration camps, literally. Sure sounding like something, isn't it? And none of these things are disputable. Not one thing I said is disputable. It's all real, and you know it. Again, anti-Christian bias. And anyone who speaks against the Jews or Israel. Because he needs the confidence of those 2 communities. Why? Because him, the devil, and Leon, those are the two communities they want most. But they're going to try and pretend that they're the defenders of those communities, again, as they take books about the Holocaust off shelves, and Netanyahu's like, who cares? And the Anti-Defamation League, who cares? We're right-wing Jews. Therefore, we support Donny no matter what he does. Dangerous road you guys are going down, working with the Nazis. Your ancestors, and again, I'm not talking about the entire Jewish community here. I'm talking about a segment of the Jewish community that's worshiping Donny, basically. Your ancestors that died at the hands of Nazis are turning in their graves right now. You're working with literal Nazis. Mr. Netanyahu, do you think that will end well for you, son? They hate you. That's why they're taking books about the Holocaust off the shelves, changing the feast days of the military, ending observance of certain holidays, Holocaust remembrance, things like that. No more events that have to do with stuff like that in the military. Do you think working with Nazis will go well for you, Mr. Netanyahu? It won't. It will be your downfall. It will be your land's downfall. One more time, I want to be real clear about this, because I noticed Donny's trying to come off as the defender of Christianity and the defender of Judaism. Meanwhile, I know Donny wants those two communities the worst. But what he really wants, what him and his daddy and Leon really want, are the real Christians, not the ones that just say they is, and then vote for the beast, the actual beast, the Antichrist, and betray their God. Donny wants the actual Christians, and that's what the mark is going to reveal. The people that don't take the mark, I don't care what religion you believe in, you're now a Christian. You're now one of God's people. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Catholic. I don't care if you're a Jew. When you refuse that mark, when it comes, and it's coming, don't worry. You are now one of God's people. Whether you want to be or not. And you will be treated as such. And persecuted, son. That's where this is going. That's why it'll be a hard choice. There's going to be something to lose involved in that choice. But the point of it all is revelation, to reveal who is who. Satan going to say, okay, these are my people. The Lord, whether you believe in him or not, don't matter. When you refuse that mark and you decide to walk that path, you are now one of his people. And the Antichrist will see you that way, and so will God. Even God will say, I know he was a Buddhist all his life. Doesn't matter. That's one of my people right there. And I will reward him when he comes before me for making that choice. Anyway, let me move on. Here's Tom Homan talking about Abrego Garcia. I think we made the right decision. Tom Homan on the deportation of a Maryland dad to a gulag in El Salvador that the administration has already admitted was a mistake. That's after they admitted it was a mistake. Mr. Homan is that evil that he will get on the news and say, I think we made the right decision. Mr. Homan will not do well when the man comes around. He will not do well. Lest he changes his spots. but I don't see many people doing that. I think we're all pretty much where we're going to be, unless there's some miracle conversion at the end. Donny does something so horrific that there's some, mass conversion of people. I don't know. Who knows what's going to take place? Here are some satellite photos, and these were a bit disturbing, of the actual death camp. And I've enlarged this. And there appears to be, it kind of looks like a pile of bodies and some blood on the ground. Again, now remember, I'm not saying I 100% know that's what it is. Absolutely not. The photos are somewhat blurry, and it's a satellite photo, so you can't get that kind of detail. But it doesn't look good. What in the fuck are we looking at here? Again, a satellite photo, so we got to be real careful. I'm not saying I know that's what this is 100%, and I'm gonna put the photo back to a smaller size so you can see the full scale of the complex at one part. All I know is this: instinctively, when I looked at the picture, my first reaction, the Rorschach test reaction, was that looks like blood. But, there's vehicles that could have been there. It could be some type of fuel or fluid for a vehicle, or just staining from God knows what. I don't know. All I know is what I thought of when I first saw this was blood. That was my initial thought. The person that posted it said it looks like a pile of bodies. It kind of does. But it could be something totally different. Again, it's blurry, and it's a satellite photo from, 1,000 miles up in the fucking sky. All the way in space. So who the fuck knows? But again, I gotta wonder, we don't hear from these people. I have no confirmation that Abrego Garcia is alive. I'm starting to wonder, is this an extermination camp? Because we got a Nazi Reich here in America, and it's indisputable. They ain't hiding it. They think they are, but they're not doing a good job. So yeah, what the hell is this, man? And this person said, I just confirmed myself the satellite image of one of the yards at CCOT, 1:48 p.m. Eastern, 4/11/25. I have no idea what this is, with those saying it is bodies and blood certainly are not getting that idea entirely out of nowhere. It may well be. Indeed, it may well. It just has that coloring, man, that makes the human eye think blood. And it's sad we got to rely on satellite photos to see anything. We have no idea what's going on in that place. No one does. And again, I want to remind you, the Nazis didn't exactly announce that we're gassing people en masse. In fact, they tried to deny it. That's why they marched the prisoners. As the Americans and the Russians were closing in for closer and closer to Berlin and each prison camp, they decided to march the prisoners, hoping that they would all fall out and die before the opposing troops would find them. The problem is a lot of the troops had to run away. The German troops that tried to march all these men and women from the various camps to death. So some of the prisoners lived to tell the story, and my God, the stories they have of just pure evil. That's all it is. Just pure evil. That's why I don't find Nazi salutes and this whole thing very funny. Because I know what's attached to it. It's a thing called Satan. the purest evil. Hitler gassed millions of people, not just Jewish people either. Millions. And I don't care what the exact number is. Be it 5 million, 6 million, 2 million, 8 million, doesn't matter. What matters is the thing called Hitler gassed millions of people. And there were humans that went along with that. That's pure evil. There's no other way to describe it. Despite how hard Mr. Thale and Mr. Dugan and Donny and Leon love to spout their philosophies on things which are naught but Nazism. Despite how they try and dress it up. It's just plain old pure evil, son. And everyone that participates, and I mean down to the janitor, will end up in the lake. 100% guaranteed. Unless you do like those Doge people did. Those 22 Doge members that quit a few weeks ago. Remember that? Or a month ago, whenever it was. They made a smart choice, son. They got the fuck off that sinking Nazi ship. They saw exactly what was happening. And they all said in unison, we're not going to help dismantle all these institutions so Donnie and Leon can loot and ruin the country. We don't want our names on this. We're going to quit. Bravo. Nice to see someone make a course correction when they're going down an abject path of evil. The ultimate expression of evil, the apocalypse, all those horrible things you read that you didn't believe would happen. Those things are going to happen. The Trump administration is effectively canceling thousands of migrants' lawfully obtained Social Security numbers by placing them in the agency's death master file. That's a quote. Seeking to cut off their access to credit cards, bank accounts, and government benefits. Well, these people that have these Social Security numbers, they're paying taxes. That's why they have the socials. So, this means a lot less tax money coming in from people like these that are here working anyway. And it just sounds like more, terrorizing and more craziness that's just going to lead to chaos and problems. But whatever, as long as Donnie gets to keep his illegals that work in his hotels, fuck everybody else. Anyway, here's Miss Levitt. Iran has a choice to make. You can agree to President Trump's demand or there will be all hell to pay. So yeah, we got a war incoming with Iran. We might attack Mexico as well. We're disputing water rights with them. Canada, we've threatened, Donnie said we want your country, basically. It's the 51st state. Greenland, we might, who knows, maybe we'll surround them with Navy ships. Gaza, we'll have some troops on the ground there, getting rid of the Gazans and building a resort and building a temple and keeping the Muslims off the Israelis' back as they build the temple. World War III is what I'm talking about, son. That's what's coming. And it's inevitable by what these people are doing. And wait till they start removing the Gazans. Holy shit. Anyway, the Social Security Administration, more great news, will be exclusively communicating through X, leaving any Americans without an X account in the dark on crucial updates. They're going to run Social Security through Leon's social media app. Sounds great, right, Rubes? Be exclusively communicating through X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. All I can say is thanks, Rubes. I hope you don't need Social Security, because now you got to rely on Leon's X as well as part of that process. My God, as if it wasn't destroyed enough by Leon and his band of Hitler Youth. Oh, and you thought Leon was going away, right? That's the way they were trying to present it. I knew Leon wasn't going anywhere. He paid $230 $230 million for his office. He ain't fucking going nowhere, son. And this is their wet dream. This is a Nazi Reich forming. Their dystopian oligarch dictatorship that Leon and Thale and others have been dreaming of for, probably a few decades. So we thought Leon was gone. Well, we see now Social Security communications will go through his social fucking media app. So he's not going anywhere. And now we say, oh, look, what's this? Uh-oh, that's Leon at the cabinet meeting. Uh-oh. Everybody thought he was gone. I know he thought he was going to go off into the sunset. Nope, Leon's never going away. Neither is Donny. Not till a certain person comes back. They left the planet like 2,000 years ago, and they're going to come back. And these two ain't going nowhere till then, unfortunately. I wish that wasn't the case. I don't understand a problem, a dispute I have with God, if you will. Why so much suffering has to take place before there's justice against cretins like Musk and Donny and Hitler? And why do millions have to die and be tortured and so many atrocities have to happen? Before that justice comes, I'd love if the justice came before that, but I just have a feeling that's not how the story goes, unfortunately. I wish it did. But again, I'm not God. I can't perfectly interpret it. But I'm doing my best here, based off many years of knowledge. So one more time, Leon sitting at the corner of the table. And Donny said, I don't really need Leon for anything, but I just like him and I like to have him here. No, Donny does need Leon. He's the money. So Leon didn't go away. He's right back at the table, and I knew he would. And even if he steps down in a month or two, he'll still be in an advisory capacity. That means Leon will still be all over everything. ICE has awarded a new contract worth up to $3.8 billion for the company to operate a migrant detention camp on Fort Bliss, its largest contract yet. So ICE is an independent contractor as well, just making money. That's why they're so cruel and disgusting. Is that what's going on here? I've seen some of the people they hire. They look like some real well-adjusted, nice individuals. They don't look like ex-drug addicts at all, or ex-streetwalkers. Actually, they do all look like that. A real high-quality caliber of people from the faces I've seen. And I've seen about 30 of them. It's the first time ICE is moving ahead with plans to detain thousands of people arrested on U.S. military bases in tents before deportation. Oh, you mean like a concentration camp? Almost like the one down in El Salvador? Or is that just a staging camp for El Salvador? Is that what we're saying here? The privately held company Deployed Resources has made billions running tent detention facilities to hold immigrants entering the U.S. at the border. Now it's cashing in again on Trump's plan to hold immigrants before deportation. So we're making a private enterprise of pre-deportation and post-deportation. And the U.S. will own part of the post-deportation, and the country will lease that back from us as people are possibly being exterminated. Because that's where concentration camps go, son. That's where the last Reich took it. Why wouldn't this Reich, that's supposed to be more terrible than that one, take it there? We haven't heard from Mr. Garcia yet. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe we will. Sure been a long time, though, and a lot of court rulings and a lot of stalling. And hey, the president's coming up here, the dictator's coming up here Monday. Maybe he could bring Mr. Garcia with him, you know? Do him a little favor for the mishap instead of making fun of him on social media. People convicted of no crimes are rotting in a Salvadoran prison while a jagoff with 34 felony convictions just performed the largest insider trading scheme in history. Ain't America great? Yeah, that's literally what happened. Yes, he's a felon. You voted for him, and he's our president, and he's a Nazi, and he's concentration camps, see Kyles by Leon, Panzer tank trucks driving down the street, those hideous cyber trucks you people are driving. Nazi haircuts. It's all true. All right, last two here, and one of them's a picture. Here's Leon, the entitled rich kid who never had to work a hard day in his life. Here's what he thinks all those government workers should do. You ready? We need to shift people from low to negative productivity jobs in government to high productivity jobs in manufacturing, as well as mining and refining of materials. He put that part in parentheses. He wanted that part to be like special and kind of like almost hidden at the end. One more time. From low to negative productivity jobs in government to high productivity jobs in manufacturing, as well as mining and refining of materials. What do you think that means, little children? Rubes. Oh, he wants to take office workers that worked in government, that, went to college for a degree. Some of them didn't. Maybe they got a promotion. And make them manufacture things. And make them work in mines. The rich kid from South Africa, Nazi South Africa, by the way, who threw up the Sieg Heil, who never had to work a hard day in his life. Here's my idea. You ready, Leon? We make a law where rich daddy's boys are not rich daddy's boys who are not qualified and have no experience are not allowed to own businesses in the United States. And instead, we shift them over to some good old-fashioned mining work. With like a pickaxe and shit. That's my idea, Leon. How do you like it? Instead of taking government workers that have been there 20, 30 years and throwing them in the mines with the pickaxe, we throw you in there. When you were that 19-year-old kid, however you old, when you dropped out of college in like 3 seconds because you just wanted to be rich like your daddy, and you just used the student visa to get over here. And then you and your brother said, fuck college. Fuck the visa. We just needed a door into this motherfucker with our daddy's money. So how about kids like you that never worked a day in your life and were like emo teenagers with daddy's money? We passed a law where you're not allowed to own a business in the United States until you do 10 years in the coal mine. Because you don't have the experience to be in management. You don't know jack shit. You still don't. You're just used to being in management, used to buying in, used to your money buying you the CEO position. The only reason people want you around, your money. I like that idea. How about we do that, Leon? Instead of taking government workers and making them work in factories and in coal mines, as you guys sit back and laugh, because I know that's what you're saying here. You daddy's boy cunt. You, the sad child playing video games, live streaming it late at night as little kids are making fun of you to the point you almost cry. That's you, son. How long you think you last in the coal mine? About 2.3 seconds? Your soft, pasty ass. I can't believe, I mean, again, he always proves, and Donnie always proves, they have the least self-awareness. They don't even understand what they are on this planet. Abject hypocrites, liars, criminals, frauds, soft-ass daddy's boys. They never been in a fight in their life, but they love watching other people fight, don't they? They love doing the tough talk, but they ain't got the tough walk, son, do they? Never. Never. No, they're going to have rubes like you do their dirty work and kill people and arrest people and kidnap people and terrorize people and torture people. You'll be doing that work. And guess who God will hold responsible for that? You, son. Nobody else. No following orders bullshit. This ain't Nuremberg, motherfucker. This when the man comes around, he don't accept excuses like that. He don't accept it's just business. He doesn't accept, oh yeah, I had to execute you in that detention camp because I can't have a house otherwise. My kid can't go to school. I can't buy my wife that new shitty handbag if I don't work for the Reich. Nope, be like them 22 Doge motherfuckers that said we ain't working for the Reich no more. We care about our soul, our integrity, our reputation, our country, etc. We care about our dignity. We don't want to be employees for the Reich as they dismantle and loot the place. We don't want to help facilitate that. Wow, that's amazing that they quit. It's so nice again to see some people wake up and say, you know what, I'm part of something really bad here, and a house and a car and a pretty wife or whatever I got going in my fucking life ain't worth this. It ain't worth the cost of my soul, man. I got to be able to live with myself, and I don't want to betray my fellow human beings like this. They could see the writing on the wall. They knew it was coming. They know what this Nazi salute cunt is capable of. They know where this is going. They're smart people. That's why they quit. Again, it's going to be a Reich, and the end goal is worship, and that's going to take place in Israel. Donnie's already talked about American troops being on the ground, establishing a freedom zone in Gaza. The Israelis talk about a security zone in Gaza. You saw the commercial for the resort, the gold Donnie statues, Bibi and Donnie laying on the pool deck in Gaza. They're showing you everything they're going to do in advance. Hegseth, all of them. They probably have to. There's probably some rule or something. They're showing you everything. They're saying it out loud. Donnie said, American troops on the ground in Gaza. Freedom zone. Eric Prince and others are talking openly about the death camp in El Salvador, shipping 100,000 more people down there somewhere. Buying the land, having El Salvador lease it back. What more do you people need to see? We got an innocent man down there. We still don't know if he's dead or alive. It's been days and weeks. Court orders. We still don't know if he's alive. What more do you need to see? The Nazi salute. What more do you need to see? For you believe you're in something different. And here you have again, the most elitist daddy's boy ever born. Only reason he's even remotely where he is in life is because of all the welfare the U.S. taxpayer has given him. Never worked a hard day in his fucking life. Spends the day tweeting and playing video games and firing people so they can't eat. And they can't raise their kids and pay their mortgage and their car note. And he's saying all these people in low and negative productivity jobs in government, well, we can just switch them over to the factory work and the mining work. The guy who does nothing all day except ruin people's lives and ignores children. And ignore his baby mamas. He has the nerve to say this. The richest man in the world. wants to throw other people into manufacturing and mining. And again, he's a Nazi salute guy. You can't make this shit up. Again, you're in the apocalypse, son. I'm sorry to break it to you. I wish I wasn't here, too. Again, I wish I was in a cabin in the fucking woods with all the movies that were ever made in mankind. I could just chill and watch movies and smoke weed and play guitar and sing and record music and just have a nice, pleasant chill of a life. I really don't want to be in the apocalypse, and I don't want to be right about it, and I wish I was ignorant like so many of you out there, because ignorance is bliss. This isn't bliss. This is a burden, and I have to share it with you, unfortunately, to the detriment of my rep and all kinds of things. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not. You're watching it all play out. What's it going to take? American troops actually on the ground in Gaza, Navy ships surrounding Greenland, an invasion of Canada, an invasion of Mexico, seizing of the Panama Canal, which is coming soon, seizing of the Suez. When will you believe? When we bomb Iran? When Donny walks through the temple gates? When you get the mark put in your hand or on your hand? When we switch over to Bitcoin? When will you believe? When you see the 40-foot gold Donny statue on Gaza, will you believe then? When they start building the temple that they're not even talking about right now, will you believe then? Get it? Don't help me if you believe. But you need to get there for your own good. Not for me. Not because I said so, not because anyone said so, for your own good. This is Donny Kuato, and I'm going to end it with this. We got Leon playing the role of Arnold Schwarzenegger, or whoever that guy was that had Kuato inside of him. I don't think Arnold took Kuato. It was another guy who had Kuato. So yes, Kuato was the leader of the resistance in the movie. And Arnold found the secret base, or was led to the secret base where Kuato was. And the gentleman that had Kuato inside of him had to invoke Kuato for him to come out of his chest like that. So you've got Leon Scum playing the gentleman who housed Kuato in his body. And you've got Donny Shitbags playing Kuato himself. So he's now Donny Kuato. And the real question is, this is really going to fuck you up. You ready? Does Kuato run the man, or does the man run Kuato? In other words, who's in fucking charge? Donny Kuato, who's Leon's son tells to go get his shine box and he's not president and to shut up? Or is Leon in charge, the one who's basically shunned from the White House? Because Leon's like a plague wherever the fuck he goes. Donny is too, but in a different way. Leon just nobody wants around. I mean, my God, nobody. And he can feel it. So Donny Kuato, that's what we got going. We've got a dual co-chancellorship, just like Hitler and the leader of Germany at the time, until Hitler one day decided, yeah, I'm going to take over, and we're just going to eliminate that other position, and I'm just going to be dictator for life. Is that cool? We've got two people here that want to be dictator for life, Leon Scum and Donny Kuato. They both want to be dictator for life. I have a feeling Donny's going to come out on top. He is the beast, of course. Satan's anointed. Donny Kuato. Okay, people, until the next episode. One more look at Donny Kuato. Hold on. I laughed my ass off when I first saw this. Donny Kuato! Until the next episode.